What's up everyone, welcome to a new video. In this video I'll be showcasing my Lightning Stormweaver Sorceress build, and in this build I'll be using mainly Arc. I slowly built into this from building more into Spark and Flame Wall, which is the great beginner and an amazing starter that really is nice to the game in the beginning, but now I've slowly built more of an Arc and Orb of Storms, with sometimes using Mana Tempest and even Lightning Warp. So I'll get right into the build with all of the gems. I would just want to quickly go over the gems I've used, and then later on I'll talk a little bit about all of the gems and whatnot. So Elemental Storm is one of the Ascendancy things that you can get in the beginning. It's quite nice. The things I've on it right now is that it just deals a little bit more damage, but it can't crit. Elemental Storms can't crit anyway, so that's fine. It's just a 30% damage increase. And then more area of effect as well, quite nice. And then the Electrocute, which is a bit of an iffy one. I think Electrocute can be really nice if they stand in it the whole time. Especially bosses, this can be really nice. But for just regular mobs, they will mostly just slowly run through it. So they're not getting in all too much about this. But I've recently put this in. I'm still testing out a little bit with all the other support gems. But this one will just slowly upgrade. Up until every level you get, it will just slowly upgrade with you as well. So that's quite nice. You just put in a third skill gem. Arc. I have Arcane Surge because I don't have the Ascendancy for that, which is a permanent Arcane Surge. I have the Arcane Tempo, which is just more attack speed, and the increased lightning resistance penetration. These are just quite nice. That's quite a nice DPS as well. At the beginning, I didn't use Arc fully. I just used or Spark a lot for the AoE, but Arc for the single target and the bosses, that's worked quite well, because you could have a little bit more distance between you and the boss as well. Usually with the Spark, you just want to stand close, and Arc you can do from a little bit of more of a distance. And now that it changed a little bit more to, it is more effective for groups of enemies, especially with Orb of Storms. I have the Orb of Storms that can have one more. You know, you do have a less duration, but you know, you can just cast this a few more times. And then also with the Unleash, which will instantly cast 2 of them, which is quite nice. You don't have to do more of that casting speed. And then also have the Coursing Currents, which will increase the chances of shocking enemies in an AoE. This will just hit a lot of enemies. So with all of the chains that it's doing and with how many times it's hitting, so it is quite nice that it can also shock enemies in an AoE as well, which would just mean that your Arc would just do a lot more damage. Mana Tempest, just a nice additional damage bonus, but the thing is about Mana Tempest is that you are constricted to an area. So a boss with a lot of AoE or just a boss that hits very hard, if you are thinking, oh shit, I need to either stay in my Mana Tempest or dodge this hit, always go for dodging the hit, because it's not worth it to get a hit in the face, especially as a sorceress. You're not super tanky. So it's very important that you stay inside, or don't stay inside this and just go outside of it. And because of this, you don't really always stay to get fully into it, but it can be really nice, especially if you know the boss a few times. If you've died a few times to the boss, then you know when you can cast this and really go ham and just chunk a bit of damage in there. So it's very nice. Less cost, just nice, because it will cost a lot of mana. And also Energy Shield immediately begins to recharge when you're in there. It can be a little bit nice. I don't know. I just put this one in because I had it. I think there's definitely other better ones you can put in there, but I don't have any support gems right now. Spark, used this in the beginning. Pierce is very important on that because you then will just AoE, and although it will do less damage, it's still quite nice to get that AoE damage. And the Flame Wall damage I don't think gets reduced. So that is, projectiles supported from skills to do 30% damage. It is a projectile from Flame Wall technically, so I'm not sure if that also works on that, but to be honest, it's still quite nice. Spark and Flame Wall was the beginning of my campaign, and it works very well for clearing out mobs. Even now, still a lot of people use Spark. It's still a great ability, so you can also just opt in for that. But I think I want to do a little bit different and just try out with the Arc. Single target damage, it does beat Spark by a margin. Unless you're really in the face shotgunning people, but then you're in a very dangerous area anyway. Flame Wall, quite nice. I think this one's very good for Flame Wall. Either this or the ring around it. This one just reduces the damage a little bit less, but it will cast it on an axis. Echoing it will be quite nice because then it can use that axis twice. So this will just mean that you will get even more Flame Walls. And if you're casting the Spark through that, that's great. And just allow you more opportunity to dodge roll more here and there while you're still getting that spell echo. Or just getting more of the Flame Walls in there. Grim Feast is great, especially in the beginning. If you have like 30 spirit, I would say get Grim Feast. You can also opt in for doing something like Raging Spirits or just a Skeletal Warrior from the Witch Tree. Always check the Witch Tree as well for things you might want in your build, but you could just get a Skeletal Warrior as well. I think one of the few first bosses will give you like the 30 plus spirit. It is a hidden boss, so you need to search around for there, but there are lots of guides on how to find that. But once you get that, you can get either Grim Feast, which will just give you a lot of energy shield back if you're clearing mobs of enemies. Or you can get like Mana Remnants if you get more mana. But usually you will get mana charges back on your flash charges. So it really isn't that useful. It will give you back if you hit a shocked enemy. So you could use it during bosses a little bit. But the 60 mana just doesn't feel like it's that good compared to something that will give you energy shield back if you're dealing with hordes of enemies. You'll definitely get hit if you're doing hordes of enemies, so I think this is quite nice just for your overall survivability. Then increase mana regen and increase life per second. If you have the extra spirit from your chest piece, I would definitely say this is quite nice just to have to honor. Especially the mana regen can be really nice. I have quite a lot of mana regen, so I could just constantly cast Arc without losing much mana. It's only when I cast all the other spells that my mana really does go down, or when I'm in the Mana Tempest. Connectivity is just really nice. Don't really care too much about the Impending Boom. Doom Blast, not really that good to be honest. It does a little bit of extra damage, equal to your current mana as well. Usually when you cast this you have very low mana, so it doesn't really do that much damage. Maybe later on it can be quite nice, but now at the beginning I would say skill effect duration and also that it triggers faster is great support gems in here. Lightning Warp is just great because you can just do this to move around as well. If you hit someone with Arc that has low health and then bring them to a low health to the threshold, you can just teleport to them, which can get you out of a very sticky situation, especially if there's a horde of enemies and then you have an Orb of Storms just going around zapping people. Sometimes you'll see a few of them having the mark and you just teleport all the way behind all of the enemies instead of getting body blocked and dying. This has saved me a few times, so it's quite nice. Definitely keep it in there. You don't really need to do anything on that. You're always executing enemies with this, so recovering energy shield is quite nice. They might just not be shocked, but it was still quite nice just to get that extra energy shield. Alternatives, instead of doing like a wand and shield, could be just doing a staff. You could also opt in just for your second slot to do the staff and for the first slot to do a wand and focus, so you can always swap around between them. I would say doing a wand and shield is also really nice, especially for survivability. The shield can really be nice, but I think for damage wise the focus can give you really a lot of extra stats while still offering some of that energy shield in there and the maximum mana and stuff. So it can still be used for a little bit of survivability, but the shield will always trump all in like survivability wise. But I would say if you're not struggling with too much survivability, I would say go take the focus. And if you're not really worried about survivability at all, go for the wand, man. Just go for the wand. But I would say just getting that shield or focus will really increase your survivability by a lot. Then for boots, anything with increased movement speed is really nice. I got these boots in the beginning of my campaign and like during Act 2. These were really nice just for that extra damage from the decompose as well. And when you cast Firewall on that, it will explode. But generally, I would say for your items, just really use your Exalted Orbs, your Regal Orbs to upgrade as many new items. And a huge tip I can give you is to constantly check the marked. Basically check the people that sell, the vendors, because they can sometimes have something that can be insane for your build. Maybe not the inherent skill that it is, but maybe just one of the stats on there. Recently, I think I got one of my items that was just on there that had +4 to lightning skills. Then I threw in an Orb of Randomizer or whatever that changes one of your stats. This one, Chaos Orb, and it removed that +4. So no, I don't use that staff anymore. It was very sad, but it was quick as well, so oh well. The 20% movement speed is very nice on the boots, so do get that. Anything with maximum life is just great. Do get a lot of maximum life and energy shield on there. And in resistances, you don't need accuracy rating, but I just use this because it has 50 health and 7% all res. And then for this one, intimidating enemies does increase the damage a little bit, so this is quite nice, but I would say maybe something else with more survivability is also very nice. Do remember, +2 attacks doesn't work on spells, so you want +2 spells rather than +2 attacks, but those are very rare. I haven't seen much +2 spells anyway. I'm level 44 right now at like mid Act 3, I think. So I don't think there's too many of those. And yeah, I still need to do the Ascendancy trial too. I died a few times, a lot of times, doing that. So I still need to do that. But that's that. As for the points into the passive skill tree, I took the Elemental Storm as the first Ascendancy. You can opt in to go Arcane Surge, but I really do like the Elemental Storm. Although it doesn't do like a crazy whopping amount of damage, the hindering that it does is quite nice. And even though it only crits, it only triggers on crits, it's still triggering more than often enough. Every 5 seconds, it has 5-second cooldown, so it triggers almost every 5 seconds anyway. You can't really reduce this cooldown through support gems. I've seen that if I put the 30% cooldown reduction support gem on there, it doesn't do anything to the 5-second cooldown. Maybe that's because this one can only reduce the cooldown, but I don't know. I'm not sure. I might opt in for this one just to check how many more Elemental Storms I get once I get 150% cooldown reduction, because that is every 2 seconds, I believe, which can be quite nice with that Orb of Storms if you have that one in there, and then just all of those Elemental Storms hindering their movement so they stay inside of the Orb of Storms longer. Can be quite nice, and especially if they have to electrify, then I think with 2 of them at the same time, it could be quite great. Other than that, I went increased for the spell damage, cast speed, and also a little bit of more survivability in the beginning. I just went to get all of these nodes, and then I slowly moved towards the left and to get more damage while they are shocked. You're already doing more damage with shocked, but this will just increase it even more. And then a little bit of a lightning penetration. Then it went straight to the middle and to the right to get more cast speed, because I felt I was casting really slow. So this was really nice. Just get that. If you do all of these, you get 20% cast speed with lightning skills, which is quite noticeable as well. Then I went up there. If you have any gems, of course, put them in. I only have this shitty gem, so I couldn't really do much. I don't have another jewel. Jewels, not gems, whatever. You put them in, and then I went over up in here to get increased lightning damage per 100 intelligence. I currently have 136 intelligence, so that is still quite a bit of extra lightning damage. I think that's like a 26%, but later on, especially if you get nodes like this will keep stacking more and more and more. I do recommend that, especially if you're going to go shield, do get some of these nodes into like strength or anything else that you need to get the shield. And of course, strength will also just give you a little bit of life as well. So each of the nodes can give you 10 life. Which doesn't seem like much, but you will get a lot of these nodes, so it will stack up in the future. But now, just more if you want to go damage, this will give a lot of damage as well. And just every intelligence you get now also gives you lightning damage, so that also gives you a bit of a motivation to do that. But I would say getting a little bit more of the survivability with the increased energy shield is also really nice, and I will go there after leveling this. I think one of the things I do want to say is like a thing I might do in the future, that is going for the cast on shock is a really big one. I currently don't have any level 11 gems, so I can't do the cast on shock, but I do see a very nice combo with casting on shock. Either doing casting on shock for arc, so casting arc on shock, and then maybe combining this with the lightning bolt, so that I only use the lightning bolts and then cast an arc on shock. Lightning bolt is very specific and low radius, but it does do a lot of damage. So I think the single target damage will go insane if I get both the lightning bolt and arc, especially because lightning bolt has a 100% increased chance to shock. So if you get a high damage lightning bolt, it will instantly shock them and then cast your arc, which can be quite nice of a combo. So that one I'm looking forward to. And also the ball lightning with lightning warp. If you have a very slow moving ball lightning and then you spam lightning warp on there, that can be quite nice. I think you can get a support gem in there that you can get even more ball lightnings per cast. So +2, I believe. So that would be insane, just getting 3 of those and then just spam casting the lightning warp, because the lightning warp does do a lot of damage. And it can be maybe even more if you do the nice support gems on there. And it's quite an easy cast as well. Very low cast time. And it does even more damage than your arc. But of course it has a lower like base damage. So the average damage of arc is more consistent. But the sheer damage of this. And then maybe ball lightning and lightning warp and then cast and shock shell like the arc. Later on, lightning conduit would be very nice for the cast and shock. Because this will do more damage if the enemies are shocked. So that will just be a crazy combo, but that's for later on. I'll maybe just add some gameplay at the end. But I would like to thank everyone for watching. I will be streaming again. I think tomorrow I also will stream. Today I might not stream because I will be playing with some friends, with some Marvel heroes. Anyway, please do subscribe, like the video. It really helps out the channel. Comment, let me know what you guys think. And good luck with your Ascendancy trials because that shit is difficult as fuck.
The product of your arrogance. Loss was inevitable. This must feel awfully embarrassing for you. Are you even trying? This keeps your ego in check.